This episode of the Gamerheads Podcast is brought to you by Seven Bridges Premium Gourmet Yum Yum Sauce. Enhance every bite with our savory blends of flavors, perfect for meats, vegetables, and crispy treats. Whether you're dipping, drizzling, marinating, grilling, roasting, or snacking, Seven Bridges Yum Yum Sauce takes your culinary experience to the next level. Get yours today and make every meal a gourmet delight.
Hi, I'm Celia Schilling from Yacht Club Games.
Hey, this is James from Megacat Studios.
Hey folks, this is Matt, aka Stormageddon from Reignite and the Fun and Games Podcast.
This is Stephanie from the Boss Rush Podcast and the Boss Rush Network.
Hey, this is Mark and Keon from Bunte Avond.
Hey, this is Sebastian with the ProNerdReport.com and the Single Player Experience Podcast.
Hi, this is Chris.
Mike.
And Garrett from Daylight Basement Studio.
Hey, this is Baron J67 from Level 1 Gaming.
Hi, I'm Jacob McCourt from the Left Behind Game Club, Crossplay Conversations, and Video Game Trivia.
Hey, this is Todd Mitchell from Code Right Play.
Salutations, this is Mike Carroll from Stroll Art.
Hey, this is Jeff Moonen from Fun and Games Podcast.
What's good, y'all? This is Adam from Respawn Aimfire.
Hey, this is Patrick from the Backlog Odyssey.
Hey, this is Rune from Runic Codes.
Hi, this is Andrew from Spalato Bros.
Hi, everyone. Jill Grote here from the Indie Informer.
Hello, this is the Crypt Master, and you're listening to Roger You're listening to Roger on the Gamerheads Podcast.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Gamerheads Podcast. We are doing another one of these fireside chats. It's a new series that Roger and I have started. However, we don't really have an official name, so we're just calling it a fireside chat for now.
That's a great name.
We don't really have a fire, though, so we should probably get a fire. I don't know.
Animated gif of a fire.
You can get Jake on that.
Yes, for sure. I am Trina, and I am one of Gamerheads Games journalists and news coordinator. And with me, I have Zeb and Dan. And Dan is one of our special guests with us. If you could go ahead and say hi and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Dan. I make YouTube videos on the internet, on the YouTube, at youtube.com/DanOnMac, where I talk about... I've actually spoken a little bit about our topic today.
Oh.
Just lots of reviews and indie games and stuff.
Okay.
And now I'm here doing this with you guys.
Awesome. Well, welcome. And then we also have Zeb with us.
Hello. You know me.
Zeb's like, I'm known. We're good.
I'm known here.
You guys know what you're dealing with right now.
Zeb is also part of the Gamerheads crew, since he want to introduce himself.
You can look for my reviews and previews from PAX.
Zeb's like, look it up yourself. I don't need to deal with this.
All right. Well, today we are going to talk a little bit about our experience playing Marathon. All three of us were invited to play the alpha. And so for those of you that are listening or watching, Marathon is Bungie's newest title that is planning to come out in September. It's set in the world of Tau Ceti 4, and it's a team-based extraction shooter in a cybernetic world. Essentially, we got to play as runners that were like mercenaries, and we were looting and completing contracts and a bunch of different stuff. So it's kind of quick overview of the game if you've never heard of it before. I feel like a lot of people have, but who knows? People haven't probably heard of it too. So from there then, I did want to talk a little bit about why we wanted to play this game and why we wanted to kind of get involved. And so I will kind of open up the floor if anyone wants to start off.
I kick it off a little
Sure.
bit. So we can think about Marathon like it's an extraction shooter where you go in, you get loot, and if you get out alive, it's high stakes, high rewards. It's really gratifying to do well in these games, but they've always been really hard. And I was excited to play it because now it's like my favorite game. FPS making companies making this game style that I've been too intimidated to try before, because you've got ones like Escape from Tarkov where if you play for 3 seconds you just get bodied, completely wrecked by people who live in the game. And that's every one of these. Like, they always get their communities and that's it. So I was really excited for something I'm comfortable with to now have this thing I'm not comfortable with. So it was like a new experience with a comfort experience. It was yeah, that's what brought me to being excited. Plus, I guess it's kind of cheat codes for Bungie because we already kind of really like them from Halo and Destiny, so they have that. So I was excited. I think everyone's always excited for a new Bungie game too. But those are my reasons.
Okay.
I would concur with Dan. It was more of just like, oh, I loved Halo. I love Destiny. I love the way Bungie can make a shooter feel. So I wanted more of that, and so that's why I really wanted to get into Marathon, because I was like, the shooting's gonna feel good. I know that at least, and it did. Yeah. Spoilers.
Yeah. I think Bungie kind of has a way with their shooting. Like, I haven't felt that way about any other game. Like, they just got it down, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So, some get close.
For sure.
But there's always something. One of my favorite words is ineffable. and I think that applies. It's an ineffable feeling when you're like, oh man, this is good. I don't know why. Some secret sauce in there.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think I am right along with you guys. I wanted to play because it's a new Bungie title, and I didn't start in the Halo universe, but I have played Halo now, and of course Destiny. You guys know that we all love Destiny, but I think I was a little on edge because it was going to be an extraction shooter, and again, same thing. Like, I've watched a little bit of Tarkov, I've seen some of the other ones, and I'm like, I just don't think that's the game for me. I don't really like high stress, high stakes. But apparently this is Trina's era to play new games that she's never played before, because I've played
don't worry. After we're done with this, we're playing Elden Ring.
Yeah,
so.
I don't play Souls-likes. I don't play extraction shooters. Apparently it's the year to try new things. So we'll talk a little bit about the gameplay here in just a moment. But yeah, I think I really enjoyed just the gameplay and the feel of it. So I was really excited. And I think, too, what really got me over the edge was Bungie's little reveal stream that they did in the studio. Like, they had a little bot going around, and it was interactive.
That was so wild.
That was
so
really
cool. That was clever.
and the thing that led up to it was nuts too. Like, they had the whole ARG augmented reality game where people were just solving riddles, hacking, and for the listeners at home who were doing audio only, I just did super hard air quotes. They put clues everywhere, and then all of a sudden we opened up to literally being in a Bungie studio, and then people had to say up, down, left to try to drive this stupid remote control car around. And what was stressful is that you saw the battery levels on it.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
It died a couple times.
Yeah,
and I had to keep swapping it. It was cool. It was a cool reward for a very niche
unique
thing. Yeah.
I thought it was cool too. We kind of got to see Bungie Studios. It's kind of been a studio you don't really get to see much of. They don't allow many tours or people to see it. So just to see where some of our favorite developers live and breathe every day pretty much, it was pretty cool to kind of see both a little bit of Destiny stuff and a little bit of now Marathon stuff. So
yeah.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about that gameplay. I know I played with both of you at separate times, and unfortunately we weren't able to all connect and play at the same time. So if you just want to start off, whoever, either Dan or Zeb or I can, of what we thought.
It was good. I thought. I'll start the basic was that it was good. It was what we expected from a Bungie style shooter. It felt good. The classes, I played around with Void and I'm totally blanking on the other Glitch. Yeah. And I played around with Glitch a little bit, and there's enough uniqueness to them that you want to find a team that is comfortable with multiple people so you can switch on the fly and stuff like that. And it was they took the Destiny formula of the Hunter, Warlock, and Titans, and they put it in there, and they added more unique features to all the classes. And I say it comes away feeling pretty good with the choices you have in your play style.
Sure.
Yeah, I think a lot of we might not have said this out loud yet, but this is a mostly player versus player experience.
Yes.
So I think a lot of my, I don't say anxiety, it's probably not the right word, but I overthought the characters I wanted to play as, because now you really have to, like, you're not just trying it out, because I wasn't really good with Glitch at all. Glitch is more of a DPS character. She's got that big rocket arm shot, which I thought was awesome. But I was playing as I forgot the name, Blackbird.
Oh yeah, the recon.
Yeah, and I like that character a lot.
Too,
yeah, you could ping, and you had this crawling grenade around, and so that was like when I was playing in a group, that's what I would do. But if I was playing alone, I would actually play as Void, and sometimes I would play as Void with no weapons.
Just be chaotic.
And I would just run around and sneak as much as I could and try to get gear, and it was a fun way to play the game. And I wondered if that ever would get, like, 'cause you can play alone, but like they didn't really say anything about rewarding players who do that kind of stuff.
True.
Playing solo, like what's the point of doing that if it's just harder? But that was interesting to do. Plus, then Trina and I had a few skirmishes where we played, and there was one in particular that sticks out to me. It was the last one we did before we got logged off, where I forget what it was. You got signed off, but the game kicked you out for a second.
Oh, yeah. My game froze, and I don't know if it crashed or what happened, but it was just, like, completely frozen. And, like, my character was still in the game, and we were in voice chat together, and I'm like, I'm trying to come back in. I'm trying. And it just, like, wouldn't load.
Yeah. But you came back.
Yeah,
and I was able to move your character.
Back. Yeah.
Which is great, actually. I thought that was kind of cool feature.
Especially for a beta. Like, that's huge.
Yeah. And if it's an extraction shooter and you're like, I'm doing great, and the game crashes, that stinks, because now all your loot's lost. But apparently not. So when we were doing that, the part that we were actually connected for, so there are these drones that float around that have loot in them, and obviously they're worth shooting at, but then you'll be exposing yourself because of noise. So we were just walking around, and then a drone just falls next to us. So an enemy team saw the drone and shot it, and it just dropped next to us. I was like, oh. And then we like hid and got completely destroyed. But for a moment, I was like, this is a cool moment. Like, this is like, we're about to steal their stuff, and they're going to come here. It's like they've almost baited themselves to us. And a lot of that sort of emergent gameplay was, I think, my favorite part of my experience.
Yeah, the pure chaos that would just break out. Yeah, I remember with Trina that would happen, and just throw a grenade and then watch them all rush in, just fall on top of each other. You're like, okay, this is fun. I like this now.
I think some of the scariest moments were not even the PvP part of it. It was like I'd be looting something, and then all of a sudden, like a bot would come up and like smack me from behind and scare the crap out of me. And then it's just always goes downhill from there.
It may be mainly player versus player focused, but the AI is no joke too.
Yeah, they're tough.
They were scary.
Yeah, they hyper focus on you. They're like, and they come after you. They're aggressive.
Coordinate. Yeah, they're bad.
Yeah. So, but between the players and the bots, you'll be doing a lot of looting in between those fights, and that's also oddly satisfying. So a lot of it felt really good, I guess, is what I came away with it. Like it felt good as an experience, but there was a lot that I kind of hope they work on and add. But I really didn't have too many like outright complaints, I guess.
Same.
Yeah.
I have a couple.
I mean, I definitely have some, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, before I get into that, I just want to talk a little bit about like my experience, because I know you guys didn't really play a lot of extraction shooters either, but I do think that like I mostly played Glitch. I didn't really play. I think I played like 1 or 2 rounds of Void, but I really liked Glitch just because I could like speed up and go faster. I do think that it was a little difficult at first choosing a runner, because they don't give you a whole lot of information about like what their abilities are and what they do. Like it's very vague, and so I'm kind of hoping that they expand on that a little bit. But it also was kind of cool to try to figure out what they do and kind of that world, right? I do think in terms of gameplay, I really did enjoy the shooting part and the looting. And they were very creative with a lot of like the loot, right? There was pieces of loot that like you could sell, but there was also like loot that was helpful for you, like to, you know, stop like other glitches, or some of the even grenades and stuff like made you glitchy, and it was just kind of cool all around from that. And even just like when you were knocked down, right? Like there was different things that your teammate could do to bring you back up in that firefight too, which was pretty cool. But
yeah, a lot of the fun came from trying to figure out what all the loot was for. And since it was the beta, we couldn't really use it to its most, I don't think, yet. But there's a lot of loot you need for upgrades that are more permanent throughout the season anyway, even though they all reset. So you really did have to decide like what you wanted to bring with you. And that was something they focused on a lot in the, I guess I'll call it a keynote. I don't know, the initial stream when they announced everything.
Yeah.
They're like, you're going to have to decide what you need to pick up and bring home. And I was like, of course, dude, whatever. But it makes more sense. Like, it really is sort of like you do like, what is this thing? And then there's a lot of reading in those moments where you're like, I have to read this, and there's like robots around me.
Yeah.
So but it starts to make a lot more sense. I mean, a little bit. But yeah, it's definitely one of those things, like you were saying, they're vague. And now that if you read the descriptions about like, you know, how all the characters work, like, of course I get it. But when you first pick your runner, it's not clear.
No,
it isn't.
not at all.
And you're like Void can go invisible. I'm like, cool, but like define, like, go further. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah, it doesn't say what, like, if anything breaks his invisibility. Like, I was like, I hope this, like, healing, I'm gonna find out if I get shown. Yeah,
I will say the one really cool thing that I thought they did really well was all the secrets. Like, it wasn't just like go do contracts, go loot, all that. There was a lot of secrets on the map, and kind of, you know, found different things. And even when I played with Dan, he was like, oh, do you know how to do this? And I was like, no, what is this? And we were like putting in the right code and trying to find the right thing. And it's just so cool. Like, I feel like there's so many possibilities on each of the maps.
Yes, that's so, like, the whole augmented reality thing, Bungie's done it before with this. It was Halo 2. I'm aging myself at this point. There was a website called ilovebees.com, and the prize, it became an augmented reality thing, just like the marathon stuff, except like a lot more, I guess I'll call primitive. But they're so good at putting together weird puzzles, but they've never really had a game that lets them do it. You know, Halo and Destiny's got weird puzzles, but it's not like, it's just like finding a thing to collect, which is fine. But I'm hoping a lot of that puzzle solving, or I should say the admiration they have for puzzle solving, can really open up in Marathon, because they were talking about like community driven narratives and, you know, people finding certain pieces of loot, and that might open a portal to another planet. Like, stuff like that sounds awesome, and it sounds like an exciting thing for everyone to get in on.
For sure.
So, yeah.
Do we want to talk about cons at all, or?
I kind of think we have to, right?
Yeah. We can't just be like, it's all rainbows and butterflies. That'd be nice.
Like, it might not even come out in September anymore. Is the, like,
we'll get
new
there.
rumor? Okay.
Hold on to that thought.
Yeah.
I guess in terms of my cons, one of the two things that I thought were a little clunky were, if I was reloading, there was no way to stop like mid-reload.
Oh.
I couldn't figure that out, at least. Maybe there was, but I felt like that was a little clunky, because all of a sudden I was getting shot at mid-reload and I couldn't like shoot back, right? Like, it was game over. So
I know you can do it in Destiny.
You can.
You start sprinting.
Yeah, but I couldn't
or
figure it out. Or
dodging, or literally anything. Yeah. It could be by design.
I could be, and maybe that's the challenge. But
yeah.
And then the other thing too is contracts. Like like being able to see them, it was like clunky. Just like even on the main screen too, like you had to go to another page and then see, and then you're like, oh yeah, what was my contract? What map do I need to go to? And you had to go back to that same page. And even when you were like on the map, you're like, what was I supposed to do again? And so I feel like if there was an easier way to see what your objective was, that would have been a little bit better. But
yeah. It's so funny because a lot of it feels like an open book test, because they've solved lots of these issues in Destiny too.
Yeah.
Where, like, if you have a quest, you can click on the quest and just say start quest, and it takes you to the planet that it's on. And I'm like, that's cool. Do that. Just do it here.
True.
Copy paste.
Yeah.
So it is probably intentional.
It might be, but
it could be.
I don't know.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point. Like, I wonder if they're like just like starting fresh. Like, what's the UI for Marathon? What's going to make sense? And they're just like, here it is for now. Also, this is the beta, so I guess the UI is one of those main things that will change for sure. So I hope that
Sure.
your concerns, but a lot of it did feel finished too. I will say
Yeah.
that. Like a lot of it did feel like this looks good. But I guess my biggest con was some of the player versus player interactions I did have, and also player, not versus player, because a lot of times, like if I player complying with player, like your teams when you get matched up with people. Part of the reason I did that crazy solo void adventure thing was because I was sick of the way I was getting matched up with people who would just run off and do their thing and not res me and die in parts of the map that were just completely unwieldy. And that's sort of hard you can't control human behavior with matchmaking. But that was one thing I think in these shooters specifically too, like you need your team. And if you're going to be grouping up with randoms, I think the same thing I heard is happening in the Night Rain thing too right now, where people are just like going off in all sorts of directions. So it might not be a solvable issue, but it is a prevalent one, I think. So that was something I was kind of annoyed at. I was like, this makes me want to play the game less.
Yeah. I think Zeb and I had a little bit of an experience of that too. Like we matched with this random and he was kind of helping in the beginning and then he just stayed where he was. Like he didn't even move. I think he was hiding. I don't know.
Like he got called to go take the trash out or something.
I don't know. But Zeb and I made it all the way to the end and we're like, well, I guess we're just going to extract because there's not a lot of time left and we've got a lot of good loot. And so we extracted, and when that happened, like, we were stuck watching him. And then he finally decided to, like, move. But when we tried to leave, it said if we abandoned it, we wouldn't get any of our loot. And
I was about to ask.
I was like, okay, well, I guess let's just wait and see, like, if he decides to extract. Thankfully, he only took a couple minutes or so, but I wasn't a big fan of that. Like, if I'm going to matchmake with someone random, like, I should have the ability to leave if I extracted.
So if you extract before your teammates, this is something I actually didn't experience. You are stuck waiting on them.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's so bad.
Yeah.
That's so bad. That needs to change, big time.
Yeah,
they need to be.
I put
put
that
on a
feedback
clock.
in the survey for sure.
They need to be put on a clock if your team extracts without you, they clearly missed the boat.
Right.
And so that they should then be put on some kind of clock where, like, if you don't extract in 2 minutes, you're losing everything.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Oh, weird. That sucks.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, guys.
Yeah. Well, hey, we still got our loot, so it ended up
It's only
being
the alpha,
okay,
too.
But...
It's just added stress because we're sitting in extraction and I'm just like, oh, we could have left by now, but now someone could easily snipe us and take everything. It was a little scary.
I guess the reverse experience is when I was down and my teammates were just running around the map playing the game without me, and I'm just like waiting. And the game's every time you try to leave, the game gives you a real scary message. It's like, if you try to leave now, you're gonna lose all your loot. And I'm like, but if I'm just sitting here just across the map, I've been abandoned. So yeah, that's definitely and that might, again, like, this goes back. It's an extraction shooter. How do they keep it interesting for that crowd while keeping us soft Destiny players happy as well?
Yes, for sure.
It's a weird balance.
All right. Well, I think let's kind of wrap up our conversation. I do have one final question for you both. A lot of marathon news has come to light over the past month. Some of that kind of circling around the artwork, some of that being with, marathon potentially being canceled or delayed because of the marketing being canceled. Which actually ended up being just a specific region. And then I also think I saw Paul Tassi say in a video yesterday or today that it was actually, it was just a specific region, but Bungie was considering, like, potentially reworking their marketing strategy. So there's a lot of, like, different things circling around. My question to you is, do you think Marathon is going to get delayed?
This could be its own episode of Fireside.
Yeah. Okay.
But we could touch on it. I think there's so many reasons it should be delayed. I think a lot of them, we can point out half of them. Like the game, we're being kind of generous to the game, I think, because we liked it. We generally did. But there's so much good feedback that leaves the game in a bad spot from people who just, like, genuinely want it to be a good extraction shooter. And that's not even talking about the fact that they have to, like, rework probably most of the assets.
Yeah.
Or pay an artist to get that stuff rectified, or else they could be in some deep doo-doo. So, like, and the vibes are off now for me. We were joking before this. It feels like my girlfriend cheated on me a little bit. And it's, like, weird now. And so, like, I want to feel better about it. Maybe I'm being too sensitive. I don't know. But I want it to be a little more delayed, just to give this a little time to make more sense. And if Sony's already looking at it internally, being like, gotta change some stuff up. I'm like, dude, September is not far for a game release. So, yes, I think it should be delayed, personally.
What do you think, Seb?
Yeah, it should probably be delayed. I mean, we've seen what they can do when they have the time to cook. That's what the final shape turned out to be. If they hadn't delayed that, I don't think we would have been nearly as pleased with how they ended that saga. So I think it's in their best interest to delay. I think no dev should ever stress about delaying a game, because it gives them more time to make it true to their vision and hopefully something that we can all enjoy.
Yeah. I think I'm in the same boat as you. I think as much as I want to play it again and keep going, like, I do think it should be delayed, just to give, kind of cool off a little from the artwork stuff, and especially if they have to change all their assets or whatever they're doing with that whole situation. I don't think they really said anything around that. I think they did confirm that it was that their artwork. I forgot their name already, but the
art, I'll look it up.
Okay.
It was art something. I forget what it was.
Yeah, but I think they did confirm it was theirs, and so I'm not sure what's happening with that, but I think just, like, as much as I was excited for Marathon, and then just kind of everything swirling around this month, I'm just like, I could wait a little bit, let it get a little bit better, especially because I don't know what kind of feedback they got from the alpha. I heard there was some good, there was some bad, so maybe they do just need the time to cook and get a little bit more, I don't want to say more better, that's not the right way, but...
More better.
Add more meat. Add more meat.
Add more meat, thank you.
Yeah, Anti-Real is the name of the artist who was plagiarized.
Yeah.
And just on that whole thing, like, I don't know if they can change the assets out. Like, I said that really quickly. I think it goes as far as, like, the game's art direction. Like, they pulled, like, the art direction and, like, really got in there with it. And again, it's, it's not like they did it on, Bungie had contractors who did it, but they didn't check correctly, I guess, is the problem, which I think is valid. But yeah, besides all that, like, I think what we were saying earlier, like, that whole, like, solving puzzles, and I want that to be more of the game. Like, if just ignoring all the other stuff, like, if they could add more things that keep player versus environment players really happy, almost like making, I don't say two separate communities in the game, sort of like Destiny has it, but, like, really putting a focus on, like, how do you make that work while also keeping this other crowd invested. Because I want to do those things. I want to run around with you guys and just, like, let's find some secrets.
I will say, Tarkov does have a single player mode now that has no other players in it, so you are just you versus AI. So there's no reason Marathon can't nor shouldn't do that.
I didn't even know that. That's a great call out. I think really, and that'd be perfect too. Right? You could explore, and then
you
maybe
and your friends,
be as good.
Yeah,
like that could be fine.
Yeah.
Right.
Some people don't care.
True.
Let them cook, like you said. You're right. The final shape definitely benefited. It's like their best expansion.
Yeah.
And yeah, let them cook.
Yeah.
Please, Bungie.
Well, you heard our thoughts, and we want to know yours. What do you guys think? Do you think it's going to be delayed, canceled? Hopefully not canceled, but...
Are you excited for it?
Yeah, are you excited? Yeah. We want to know. Let us know in the comments below. Thank you guys both for joining me to chat about Marathon. Before we sign off, I just want to remind our viewers and listeners to make sure, if you want to support us, to make sure that you subscribe and like, or even visit our website at gamerheadspodcast.com. If you want to support us a little more, you can always visit our Patreon at the Gamerheads Podcast. You can just search Gamerheads Podcast on Patreon to do that. Before we go, Dan, if you want to remind folks how they can find you.
Go to youtube.com/DanO'Mac for more rantings about video games. I promise they're pretty good.
Perfect. And Zeb?
That's my take.
Find me on Blue Sky at ZeBear or on Gamerheads Podcast for previews and reviews.
Perfect. And you can always find me at Trina with 2 A's, Ballerina, on pretty much anything, any website. I will be there. And thank you so much. Have a wonderful rest of your day and happy gaming.
Bye.
Bye.